Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Daniel Rucker with Truth Table. I'm back in here with another video. It's just been such a blessed week. Things are going well in my life. I hope the same for you guys. So I wanted to just get in here today on this beautiful Friday, sunny California. It's hot today and it's windy, like really windy. But I wanted to get in here and talk about something that is dear to my heart. One of the things that I aim to do with this channel is to continue to provide you with content that is beneficial for your life, things you can apply, things you can consider. Definitely one of my themes is things to consider, because I do feel that there is a huge disconnect a lot of times with people and not understanding that there's your perspective of life, and then there's what's really happening. And I want to encourage people to get outside of their comfort zone. I want to encourage people to put themselves in a position to win. This is both just humanistic, men, women. I'm going to talk a lot to the men. I'm going to talk a lot to the women. I'm going to talk to both parties, because I feel like, we need to step it up. There just needs to be some improvements that need to happen. So without further ado, I want to talk about something that's really dear to my heart, and that is the women's and the presentation that is the women's. There is, I don't know if I want to call it a movement, but there is a practice, a lifestyle, a type of attitude, as I may say, that has creeped into the mindset of young ladies today. And personally, I just think it's just downright backwards. What do you mean by that, Daniel? We live in a society today that promotes artificial presentation over legitimacy. Okay, what does that mean? Well, I'm huge on presentation, your aesthetic, your outlook, keeping yourself together. I really feel that it's necessary for all people to be very conscious, like health conscious, just conscious collectively. How you present yourself to the world, how you take care of yourself, how you arrive on a daily basis. You are your own market. You are your own product. You market yourself. And it seems a lot of times that something as simple as being able to keep yourself looking presentable and decent seems to be somewhat of a hassle, specifically for my ladies. I feel that there is a lot of lazy women in the world today. Why can I say that? I can say that because the statistics back up what I'm saying. The visuals back up what I'm saying, that we have a society now that most women are relatively overweight. They carry a lot more weight than they did at one time. I know that even when I go places like Target or Walmart or the mall, it's not even necessarily ladies in their mid-20s. Sometimes I've observed 6, 7, 8-year-old young girls who, without the shadow of a doubt, may weigh 110, 120 pounds. Overweight. It's asinine. It's craziness to me. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of, get on the ladies' case and say, we need to do better. We have a lot going on. We have the hookup culture. We have the, the ghosting culture. We have the, I'm a savage culture. And all that stuff is nonsense. The reality is most people want to be with someone. Most people want love. Most people want a real relationship. Most people want something that they can call their own, and they want it to last. They want it to work. They want it to be a substance-based thing. Well, in order to even position yourself to explore that, in order even to position yourself to be considered for that, you have to look the part. You can't come out the house with dusty tennis shoes on, sweats, your hair looking a mess, you're overweight, and then to top it off, a lot of times it's those things, and then you start opening your mouth and oh my God, you have a potty mouth. Like nothing coming out of your mouth is is progressive, educated, profound. It's nonsense. Why would a man want to attach himself? And what I mean by attach, ladies, I don't mean by bend you over, make you squeal, getting some. No, most men will do that. You don't even have to be substantially pretty or gorgeous, because sex to most guys is just that. It's sex. But if you really out here trying to catch one, you out here trying to win. I'm sorry, it starts with you. To be a man and to be one that is standing for something, to be one that has goals, has characteristics, comes from a good family, makes good money, can provide, can produce, can protect, with all of those amenities that come with him, not to mention if he's good looking and smooth and all the other additional aesthetics. Well, what the heck do you think you need to bring to the equation if you plan on being his woman? Because vagina is just not enough. Sex is just not enough. There is a huge disconnect. There is a huge disregard to what we as men really want. This is something I've said for years. This is something that I have on a one-on-one level had conversations with women about what we as men really desire, what we as men really want. And it's so funny how often when we do start talking about what we want, or the things that are valuable to us, or the things that are important to us, instead of actually digesting information and listening and giving us an opportunity to communicate those thoughts, it is met with immediate disrespect, immediate disregard. Because obviously you're a man, and obviously you know exactly what men want because you're a man. Okay, sweetie. No. Sometimes you need to just shut the heck up and listen. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine last night, and I'm gonna try to tie that into what I'm saying. And specifically, I had sat on a panel some years ago. I want to say about 10 years ago. I sat on a panel, and what it was a singles ministry panel, something like that. My mother came up with the concept. Pretty much what she was observing, my mother being a woman who's happy, married, in a successful marriage, and a loving marriage, and a supportive marriage, was running across a lot of young women, who always ask her the same question. How'd you do it? Where'd you find them? How do you make it work? And she always gives them the same answer. God, 1. You have to be submissive, 2. You have to be concerned about his needs, 3. And she goes into the series. And one thing that she's told me, even in her discussions, woman to woman, is that the moment she starts telling them the list, their response is always combative, dismissive, and rejects the very knowledge that this woman, who is living the life that they claim they want, a husband, a father, a provider, and all that, they don't even listen to her. But anyway, back to the story about the panel. So that she came up with an idea that maybe we need to pull together some men from different eras. And it was 5 of us total. It was myself, I think she got a doctor, a couple other professionals, I believe it was my father, and she picked them from, I think, as old as 60 to 50 something to 30, and then I was in my 20s, and there was another young man who was in his 20s. And anyway, so what ended up happening is that there was 150 women, I believe, in the audience. Something like that. About 150 women, if I'm not mistaken. This was some years ago, but it was a big audience. And they had the opportunity to ask us anything they wanted to know. As raw as they wanted to get, as, vulnerable as they wanted to get, as whatever. There was no limitations to this panel, to this forum. Because what we were hoping to do was to provide a information that was going to put them in a position to actually gain a perspective and gain usable knowledge to go out into this world and position themselves to be picked, to be recruited, to get that job with that man, to become the one of the number 1 candidates. And I remember one of the women, she had to be in her 50s, had a specific question about why is it that our men, she was referring to black men in this sense, but it's still a universal rule, or universal, I believe it's a universal knowledge-based thing, but her specific was, why is our men seem to be going over to other races? Why does that seem to be such a heavily promoted thing? And I know that this is something that plagues specifically the black community in a lot of ways, that it's sometimes frowned upon, sometimes looked at as a negative, and so on and so forth. Before I get back to the story, I'm going to segue just a little bit to bring some continuity to what I'm saying. I'm the type of person that when I see things that are occurring, what I try to do is figure out why. I don't get bent out of shape necessarily. I try to inquire, through observation, through curiosity. Why is it that things seem to be this way? Or then a bigger question, why does it seem to be this way in my immediate life or my immediate surroundings? Because what's happening in your small world a lot of times is not necessarily what's occurring across the board or internationally. Yeah, sometimes people get a little bit stuck on their own one-dimensional life, and they can only see as far as their nose, and that's unfortunate. And that's what I'm here to do, is to help bring a broader perspective and help you to hopefully understand that there's more to it than just what maybe even you've experienced. But anyway, so that was her question. I let her finish her question, and I chose to raise my hand and take it. I asked the fellas on the panel if it was okay, and they were like, yeah, sure. Because what I wanted to do was try to provide her what was a current state of mind, me being a millennial, and what I believe what was the era transfer, or the transition from what was her era at a time, and then what the cultural changes have been. And so I started talking, and I started explaining to her that, from my opinion, one, men have more options, and that's just a fact. There's more women on the planet than there are men. We have more options. Those options are not necessarily race connected, meaning that if there's a man that is looking for his better half, or his partner, or his wife, or his life companion, whatever, he may have a specific agenda type, if mind you, and that may be connected to race. But I feel that an educated man, a man of perspective, a man of substantial understanding, learns to look not only at the cultural aspect of it, but then when you pull back the layers, who am I dealing with? Who is the person behind the mask, per se? Who is the person that is not just culturally connected to the same community I come from, but then do we stand on the same principles? Do we share the same spirit? Do we have the same goals? Are we working towards the same overall agenda? And when those are the questions that he has, check it. That has nothing to do with race. That's bigger than just the skin that you're wrapped in. It's bigger than that, right? So I started explaining that to her, that even in my experience, me being a chocolate young man, that treatment is at the utmost importance when it comes to me picking anyone that's going to be in my life. I don't care if she's black, white, green, purple, got polka dots, a ginger, don't matter. When a young woman is going to exist in my world, what I'm looking at is what she stands for. Is she a representation of excellence? Does she have character? Does she have her own mind? Is she tough? Is she open-minded? Is she open to learning things? Is she open to teaching things? Because, I'm always looking to learn from who I'm with as well. And all of those components matter. Is she selfless? Does she care about the way she looks? Do I have to come behind her and tell her to put on a nice dress, or, make sure her hair looks presentable before we walk out the house? Most men that are standing for something or that are busy or anything like that, they don't want to do all that crap. You shouldn't have to wrestle with your woman to look good. Like, that's a part of it. Like, you're a woman. Get it together. You know, keep a healthy lifestyle. Have a great diet if that's what's necessary for the best of your skin complexion and your nails and your hair. Like, no man wants to show up and have to show you how to do this crap. That's your job. But anyway, no, I got off on a little tangent. But anyway, so in the exchange of me trying to answer her question, once she heard certain things that trigger her, she met me with aggression. Now, this woman was 25 years older than I was, from my community. And what was so disappointing was that I had to reel her back, and I had to let her know, check it. I'm here providing a service, providing an outlook. I'll say that. I'm taking time out of my schedule, out of my day, out of my life to do this for free. You should be able to at least honor that. You should be able to at least understand that ain't nobody have to. Just like, you know, myself and other content creators who are men who are trying to provide what I call a good work and spread information that is going to be beneficial for your progress, beneficial for your growth, beneficial for your life, and hopefully you can start to experience the happiness that I know flows through me on a daily basis. I wake up every single day thrilled, happy, even in the midst of a pandemic. It's not a day that I wake up that I would want to be anyone else, that I would want to have another life. No, because I'm blessed. And so a lot of the motivation behind what I'm doing and what I believe others are doing that share in the same space and similar content is trying to give people a different perspective to experience this good life, as someone famous would say, living your best life. But anyway, I had to combat her aggression, and I was disappointed on so many levels, because not only was this an older woman, but this was a woman from my community. This woman was old enough to be my mother or my auntie. She probably was someone's mother or grandmother, and she didn't have enough respect to even allow for for a man, myself, who is actually from her community, who is doing what he can to articulate what he feels is helpful for her. And mind you, she was in the audience. I was on stage. She was in the audience. The whole seminar was for single people who needed information to change their status from single to in a relationship. I was on stage. She was in the audience. You would think if you in the audience and the person's on stage, they may just be qualified to be giving you pertinent information that is going to hopefully help you, and then help the rest of the people that are in the audience. And that was what was so heartbreaking to me too. I know I'm spending some time on this, but I want to try to give again some continuity to what the perception was, because it does tie into the overall message. She was so selfish on what was triggering for her, instead of writing what she thought down from the combative place and then maybe pulling me to the side or pulling other men to the side after the show to get more clarity. Maybe we could have connected. Maybe we could have set up something to go have some coffee so I could explain more to her what she needs to be looking for in order to find someone to, you know, hook up with, pair with. No, she was so selfish and so concerned about how she felt that she robbed even myself and other people of the audience to get the information from a pure place and allow for whatever I was saying to maybe potentially touch someone else. No. What she wanted was of the utmost importance. And she was so selfish to try to make it a one-on-one, and it wasn't a one-on-one. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So, a lot of it is that the delusion is very much real. And what I have found is that delusion, at one point I thought it only lived within the younger generation, but no, it's carried over into even some of the older generations, that we have too many women that are just out of alignment. And what I mean by that, I mean that there is not a clear understanding of one, what you are supposed to be doing and bringing and presenting and showcasing as a woman of today. You got a lot of agendas that have changed around, ladies thinking that their education is going to elevate them to levels of life that are superior because they went to school and they passed some exams and they got a piece of paper that now makes them better qualified to recruit a better life or better partner or better candidate for life. No, it doesn't work that way. If you apply energy into a certain area like education, and education is your pursuit, and you are looking to try to establish yourself as a scholar or someone of prestige in the realm of education, well, if you focus hard enough and you work hard enough, then you will definitely establish that. That's been proven. Anything you focus your energy on long enough will yield results. Definitely will yield results. That is without question. You go to the gym every day, work out, hour and a half, 2 hours, more than likely, you'll probably see some results. If you're working on your abs and your shoulders and your stamina and collectively, it's just what it is. So it's asinine, ladies, to expect to have a successful relationship, to expect to have success with men, if you do not spend time focus on men, focus on what they actually want, focus on what moves them, focus on what they need. I find it very interesting that a lot of times what I feel women do is that they interact with males, they watch movies, they hear music, they go out into their little sections of the world, and they have very few interactions, right? And then they conclude through very limited research, and I mean very limited research, maybe they had a few dates, maybe they done hung out with a few guys, maybe they had a couple boyfriends, and then they end up concluding that their experience is the know-all be-all. So then they start lumping every guy that they come in contact with into their small, condensed little container or viewpoint of the world. And that right there is already a telltale sign of the ignorance that flows so strongly through the mindset that is the average woman. If you want to be someone that is going to position yourself for successful interactions, successful relationships with men, one of the things at the very top of the list, past your education, past your feminism, past your sex appeal, is your looks, your weight, your demeanor. We are visual creatures. Men are visual. I'm going to say it again for those who are a little slow. Men are visual. This will not change. Visual. 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 It is a lot easier to gain, keep, and maintain male attention, ladies, if you present something that is visually appealing. Like, it's very simple. Now, I can hear some people, some ladies on here talking about, well, you don't understand how long it takes to get ready. You don't understand that it's so much work and all this, and I don't care. And most men don't. It is not what you won't do, another woman will. What you choose to deny as something that you could actually try or make a habit, there's women that will. And what's so interesting to me is that the women that don't seem to have these same debates or arguments or gripes. The women that actually moisturize, do their hair, make sure their nails is on point, Make sure they have on cute outfits. You don't have to dress like you're going to the Grammys everywhere or every day. But it makes no sense to me why you walk out the house with flip-flops or robes or, oh my God, shower caps. Like, who told you it was okay to walk outside with a shower cap on midday or any point of the day or outside the house, period? And, you know, I'm gonna take a little detour. I gotta hold men accountable. I gotta get on men's case, you know, for this one, because quite frankly, men, you guys need to step it up and stop being pansies. Stop being so passive and thinking that you can't hold these ladies accountable. I remember a few months ago, I was hanging out with a friend of mine. You know, we were out, I want to say in Fullerton somewhere, and I was having a conversation with him. This was actually at the point we were still getting to know each other on a, you know, just sharing perspective. And a young man came over and joined our table, joined our section. So what ended up happening was, I was talking about something along these lines. I was like, you know, these girls is tripping. And I was pointing out things. I'm like, she got on dusty sneakers. That girl got on sweats that got dirty, you know, knee marks on it. And then, like, I was just like, this is ridiculous. It's nonsense. I'm like, I don't understand why they think this is okay. But it's okay because most guys don't say anything. Most guys still get them the attention, free attention, because they so thirsty that they don't know how to just be like, no, step it up, raise it up, right? So anyway, what ended up happening is that the young man that joined us, one of the young ladies walked past him, and she walked so fast and so aggressively that she literally knocked him like off his balance. I think she moved him about a half a foot or so, give or take. And I just was like in awe, because I was like, oh no, no, excuse me. So she went, you know, her way. So I told him, I said, hey man, when she comes back this way, get her attention for me. Like, tap her on the shoulder. He was like, what? Why? And he was a younger guy. I think he was like 22, 23. He didn't even understand. So anyway, I'm explaining. So she came back in our section, and he tapped on the shoulder. He was like, hey, you know, my boy over here, he wanna talk to you for a second. And she's like, okay. I was like, excuse me, sweetie. And she was like, yes. I said, you know, when you left about 5 minutes ago, you were rude. Like, you were rude. And she was like, what? What did I do? I said, you bumped into my friend here, and you didn't say excuse me. I said, that's rude. Look, that's rude, you know. And instead of it actually being met with combative energy or aggressive energy, she actually kind of like snapped out of whatever her focus point was or her state of mind, and she immediately apologized. Now, after that was done, the young man was like, holy crap. He was like, dude, he was like, you don't have to do that. Like, it was okay. I said, no, it's not okay. It's not okay that she felt that it was okay to bump into another person, another man, mind you, even at that, and not feel the need to at least say excuse me. Like, manners are sexy. Manners are necessary. Manners tell you a lot about upbringing, characteristics, you know, elevated thinking, and so on and so forth. It is free to be mannerable. It don't even cost nothing. And if the situation was reversed, and I or him or any other man would have plowed through her and knocked her off her balance, it would have been expected that apology and making amends for the offense was presented. So I'm sorry, I hold a standard, and anybody that kicks it with me, you know, male or female, same thing. I hold a standard. I only run with people who operate from a place of excellence. And that's what I'm saying, ladies. We have to get back to a place to where you guys actually care about how you show up in the world. All this, you know, extra masculine energy, all this popping it, you know, and dropping it everywhere you go, you know, the extra tattoos everywhere, the piercings everywhere. Like, it's not that you can't have flair. It's not that you can't have swag, you know, or style. But you really got to be considering what your future looks like, or who you're trying to advertise to. That's what it is. What is your aesthetic? What are those things called on the side of the freeway, Daniel? What does your billboard say? what is it saying to the world? What is it saying to men? Because based on what you advertise is a lot of times what you're gonna get intention wise. I find it interesting that I'm pretty sure I've never hung out with this woman. I've never been around her, but I could assume that someone like Michelle Obama, who else? Chrissy Teigen. I'm just throwing out a couple just off the top of my head. When they're out in the world, Charlize Theron, they may not get the same attention that someone who got they ass out, all they titty meat out, or all the extra hair colors and all those things. It's different because because I said it earlier, men are visual. The one thing that I do know about men is that we assess based on what we see. It's kind of like even with items. A lot of times, it's not often that people pull into a parking lot and see a Honda that they feel they have to be extremely careful around when getting out their car or opening their doors, when it's just a Honda or a Toyota. Not knocking anybody that drive a Honda or Toyota, just trying to drive a point, using it as an example. But if you see a Ferrari, a Range Rover, a Rolls Royce, a Benz, something that kind of represents a higher class of quality, people just naturally treat those things differently. And it's the same thing, ladies. So I encourage you that we need to really step it up. These tennis shoes, these trash looks coming out the house looking like you about to go do some construction or, clean up the garage, do some spring cleaning. Ladies, oh my gosh, before nails. If you're going to not have your hands manicured, not have your nails done, not have your feet done, don't come out the house with the chipped fingernails. 3 of them is flush, is cool, and then 2 of them are broke and brittle. That's disgusting. Like, you need to have more pride of what you present in the world. Period. If you don't, then don't expect men of excellence, men of substance, men of valor, in a sense, to present themselves to you other than for sexual favors or sexual attention. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I want to start to see better couples, better situations, better relationships, better outcomes. And it starts with yourself. It starts with home. It starts with what you are willing to do to get what you want. Because this whole illegitimacy crap, I know plastic surgery and all that stuff is big and people want to change stuff and sculpt stuff. And hey, if that's what you feel is necessary to do, by all means, you do that. But don't make that just the focus point of just that. There's more to it. There's that to enhance, but it's a package. Don't just present one aspect. Be the package. Don't be the shell. Don't have a Ferrari shell and a Honda engine. Like you're a lemon, and you're not legitimate. It's just not right. That's all I'm gonna say on this today. I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'm in here. I'm in the lab. I'm pulling back all of the things that I've discussed. A lot of the things that I bring up even now, I have talked to people, talked to couples, talked to females and males, talked to friends, talked to associates. I've had these kind of conversations for years, ladies and gentlemen. For years. And I now have just made it a point to bring it to YouTube, hopefully spread it and get it out to more people. Because like I said, every day I wake up, I'm happy. And it's an internal thing. No matter what's going on in my exterior world, things are happening, whatever, I'm still at my core happy. And that's really what I want for everybody. So this is Daniel Rucker. I know I didn't mention it earlier, but go ahead and hit that like button, tap out on it, bang at it. Go ahead and subscribe, spread the news, share the information, and yeah, you guys have a good weekend. I'll check in with you next week. Have a good one.